Hello everyone, my name is Shelby and this is the series where I reveal what is inside these mystery pottery molds I found on Gumtree. Hello and welcome to mold 94. As I said last week during the last video, is that this one is another Halloween themed piece. So I pour this one up and I tip it out. It sort of came gushing out at the end there, and I open it up to reveal something. Every week there's something. It is a little ghosty riding a broomstick, which is quite sweet. So here is the mold here. It's a boob baby on a broomstick. I couldn't believe it. Someone actually guessed that exact phrase. So I assume that they have this mold or worked with this mold before. I want to say I have some thoughts. First, I'm just going to have a quick little explainer of what I'm doing this week on the piece, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on this piece. If you can't tell, I'm not absolutely in love with it, but we'll get into that. So I was looking at this boo baby on a broom and I was going, okay, so it's a white ghost. It's meant to be white, and then you add your little features in there and then you add your brown broomstick. I was just like, yeah, cool. All right, that's a pretty simple design and not really my cup of tea. I was just like, oh, that's pretty simplistic, and I wanted to take it a little bit further. So I thought about the typical representation of a ghost being this spirited figure that wears a sheet so that you can actually see the spirited figure. And I then went into this whole idea of the sheet being like not always white, and it being this vintage sheet that's sitting in the linen cupboard that's been collecting dust or just sitting there getting, you know, no love on the bed, essentially, that this ghost just pulls out and puts over itself. On top of that concept, I was thinking about all these like vintage sheet designs. I was thinking about vintage floral sheets and how I always get comments, people being like, girl, come on, flowers again, come on. Anyway, I was definitely going to do florals, but then I realized I've got a couple molds coming up that I'm featuring the florals on again, so don't worry, they're coming. And I thought this boo baby actually reminded me a lot of Casper and the Casper movies that I used to watch growing up, and that sort of era of trend. So I'm a 90s baby, and one of the Casper movies actually came out the year I was born, so we always watched Casper for some reason, and I think that this is paying tribute to it in a way. So drawing on the 90s, a little bit of the 80s, I don't even really know what I was doing. I was just playing with trendy bed settings from the 90s. So here I am adding sort of these geometric shapes and then adding these little oodles and doodles all over the top. And then I feature a few other patterns on the other two boo babies that I'm doing this week. So this one is sort of a really black heavy design. The next one is this sort of patchworky with black splodges. And then the final one is a geometric shape with zigzag pattern again. So I'm not really sure what era it is. It was just playing on this idea of a vintage bedsheet setting. Okay, sorry, I just had the biggest blooper moment and I'm going to put it at the end of this video because I could not say white sheet ghost. Emphasis on each word because I'm still stuffing it up. White sheet ghost. I am glad that I did this design because it's not the typical representation of a white sheet ghost. I've got it down pat now. It's okay. We're working through it. Talking about bed sheets and bedspreads, I would actually love to know, did you have a bedspread when you were growing up that was like your favorite set of sheets that you always looked forward to when you had your bed made with a certain set of sheets? I actually had two, both very nostalgic. The first one I had was this cute little bear that was sitting on a moon and had all the like stars and moons and suns, like that a 90s vibe of that, and it was that sort of like mottled blue backdrop. And then the other one was a groovy chick. I don't know if anyone knows Groovy Chick, but Groovy Chick was on the bedspread and it was purple and I loved it. I like collected all the Groovy Chick stuff. I honestly wish I kept it because I feel like it would be so nostalgic to look back on now. But anyway, those were my two favorite bed sheet settings growing up. Do you have one that you recall that was your favorite growing up? I can't wait to hear what bed sheets you had. Maybe you had the one that I really wanted, like S Club 7 or something, or maybe there were some trends that have kind of maybe disappeared, and this is triggering a memory for you that reminded you of, I guess, like your childhood and something that used to be really trendy but is very not trendy anymore. I now want to divert my voiceover attention to the design of this piece. Not my design that I'm painting on it, but the actual mold and what it looks like. With this piece, I really wanted to love it. I could see what it was trying to do, and I could see the inspiration and where it came from. But I've got to admit, I find it a bit weird, and I want to explain. So first off, it's this kind of baby, but it's doing like adulty things, and that really creeps me out. So it kind of reminds me of those ads that came out like ages ago that really gave me the ick. And it was, they sort of like photoshopped or like made these babies look like they were breakdancing when they just don't have the leg. They don't have legs. They do have legs, but you know how their legs are so little and they're so weak, they can't even stand on them yet, and they were making them breakdance, and it was just creeping me out. These give me the same energy. They just feel wrong that they're standing up and riding this broom when they should still be crawling. Maybe I've misinterpreted the age of the face, and maybe I am totally putting development goals in a very linear perspective, but I just feel weird when I see baby-ish faces that are doing small child things or adult things. It just gives me a bit of an ick. So hopefully I just wanted to leave my humor in there because I just didn't know how to explain it, and hopefully you can kind of get what I'm trying to get to. But yeah, babies doing big person things. It's just weird. It's just weird. The next part is the whole concept of this being like a ghosty. It's so weird because the front, I don't know if you can see there's a little belly button. There's a belly button, but then the feet are kind of like a sheet. Same with the arms and the top of the head. But if you look on the back, it's got a bum flap. It's got one of those little flappy things, and it's like it's wearing a costume, but then you can see the belly button. So is it wearing a costume, or is the body, like, is that the body? And then it just has a butt flap to open up to its insides? I'm so confused. Like, I don't know whether maybe the sheet's just really tight because the broom is like sitting against, maybe I'm looking into this too hard, but it's just weird that you can see the belly button, but it also has got the butt flap, so it looks like you open it up and it's wearing a sheet itself. The final part of this design that I do not like is those little hearts on the tummy. This thing, oh well, chest, it's more on the chest, is there's two little hearts. The design just didn't need it. I know that it was a typical thing for this era of mold design to put those little hearts and little like little embellishments on them, but it just really didn't need it, and it was an extra design that it was perfect the way it was before those hearts were added. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this piece. I'm not in love with it, but we're playing with a new design and a new idea, a new concept with the 90s bedspread. So I pop it in the kiln. Here is the finished results. I did take out that work because that was student work, and I didn't want the students to see it in this video before they see it for themselves. But I love them. I think they're great. But yeah, again, the piece I'm not in love with. So there's the pink one. I mean, I'm not absolutely in love with it. I'm glad I got to try a different art year, a different style and a different trend. I love the splodgies too. I mean, these designs are really simple but very effective, and they are very eye-catching, which I love. This black doodle one's probably my favorite. It actually kind of reminds me of Mr. Doodle, as well as Kay Haring, I think I pronounced that right, with the pop colors and the strong bold black outlines. They look cool. They're just not my thing. I still love what I did on them, and I love the interpretation I took and the inspiration. I think they turned out really great. Anyway, let me know what you think of these in the comments, and here is your sneak peek for next week. Thank you so much for watching, and here is the bloopers as promised. For the typical representation of a white sheep goat, a white sheet? What? A white sheep ghost. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. A white sheep. A white sheet. A white sheet ghost. Oh my gosh.